Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Chrono Cross. Last time, we made our way through a good chunk of Viper Manor, including getting the code and clearing all the side rooms. This time, instead of starting with Guile's path, I'm going to start with Nikki's path. There is an upcoming fight which I want to demonstrate twice because there's one thing that I would like to explain, and there's kind of two different ways of dealing with it. Now, here we have to input the code that we found on Nikki's path, that being 9 and then 6. Unfortunately, it wasn't reversed. We can't make jokes. But anyway, we got that all figured out. Let us move on up here, and we can't beat up that one. It won't let us. And if we go up here, there's one of these. And if you come up here and talk to these guys, there's an important guest upstairs. Can't let anyone through. There doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it for now. So we'll go the only way that the game will currently let us go, as soon as it'll let me open the door. Well, we saw this earlier. What are you doing here? Oh? We're not... No, really, Poshel? You don't say. The pink talking dog isn't a dragoon. Go figure. Someone will say that regardless. Yeah, like, what's your point? Her little dialect that she goes with is, I guess she talks kind of like a valley girl. Sure. Marcy. Didn't I hear that name earlier? Some weirdos. Fair. I have a rock star, a dead guy, and a talking dog. Yeah, it's not really the most cohesive party I've ever seen. Lower the ladder. Why was the ladder raised if you were up there in the first place? This is my question. My question never gets answered. Old man. You know who I am. Interesting. I've grown. You've seen me before. You want to kill me, little girl of, like, what, less than 12? Why are you humoring her? I am the prophet of time. Okay, buddy. The world is not just a single entity. Another world similar to our own exists in another dimension. There you will find what you might have become, a world of possibilities that might have existed. Whole history that has not been written yet is out there somewhere. You're simply unable to see, feel, or experience it. This world is not the world you grew up in. 10 years ago, something happened that put your very soul teetering on the balancing scales of fate, a 50-50 chance of life or death. This is when your future was split in twain. In your homeworld, you survived and lived a happy, prosperous life. That is how you made it to the present point in time. However, here in this alternate world, you are in fact dead and buried. This explains pretty much everything so far. We're in a parallel world, one where we died 10 years ago, hence why everyone thinks we have someone else is living in my house and no one knows who I am. The world's timeline has flowed on regardless. You have no place in this world. Here you are but a ghost, brought back from the past. You don't know what happened 10 years ago. Locations where such divisions in the time-space continua occur are called Angelus Arare. Is my best pronunciation on that. The place where angels lose their way. It's said that there, the borders of the two dimensions fluctuate in such a way as to make the passage between the parallel realities a possibility. Perhaps in this world, you are the missing piece from a giant puzzle. Maybe the vacuum created by your non-existence here has drawn you across the border between dimensions to fill that void in the puzzle. So you're kind of saying that it's fate that I was brought here. No one can say for sure. Helpful. It appears as though these two worlds are connected by some unknown force. Depending on the location, the two worlds influence each other in strange ways. I am quite certain that there is a wormhole that connects the two parallel worlds. You press the start button while on the world map. A menu window will appear that allows you to display which world you're in. This is incredibly important going forward. Homeworld or another world where we are currently in. So yes, we are currently in an alternate reality. Yeah, why did Serge die in this world? You can only find out by moving on. Aren't you supposed to be a prophet? Aren't you supposed to be able to tell me all this stuff about the future, not tell me about the past? Oh, so Marcy's not going to let us. Is Marcy your real name? Look just like Mother. He said he was looking for someone in here. You're my little sister. What's with you? Whatever. Can I? This may be fate itself. You're gonna fight us? Do not take Marcy lightly. This child is one of the 4 devas, as we did learn in previous episodes when we talked to Zoa? Was it Zoa or Karsh? One of them told us about it, I think. But yes, she is indeed a dragoon. And this leads to one of the more difficult boss fights in the early part of the game. Don't have a family. The only change, I think, in any of that dialogue is by bringing Nikki along, you get the illusion and the talk about Marcy, about them potentially being siblings. Other than that, there's almost nothing different from path to path. So I'll probably be skipping most of that when we lead up here with the other party to show off a different take on this fight. Marcy is an interesting boss fight. She is blue innate. She has over 500 HP. When she gets to about 50% HP, she will use Ice Blast twice. One on one character and one on another character, at random. Ice Blast has a chance to freeze you. It is an incredibly dangerous thing to deal with because you basically don't get to act for a number of turns. If you are here with Kid, you'll want her to steal the Silver Loop as an accessory from her. And then we want to start working on our elements here. And I'm going to kind of show a lot more strategy here because I should be able to just absolutely nuke this on my other file. And I'll be able to kind of demonstrate another effect here as well. The thing is, until she gets to 50% HP, she will not use any elements other than her tech. So what we're going to do with the first half of the fight is we're just going to build up our element power. All she'll do up until then is physical attacks and her own tech. Not what I want you to do. Stop missing things. Please stop missing things. Please stop missing! This game with its miss rate. Alright. So we've gotten everybody filled up with element power. We will get a couple more attacks in here and lower the HP a little bit more. That should be about good. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to take use of some different elements. I've put medicines on all three of my characters because they recover from blue status effects, including, I believe, frozen. So I should be able to remove that if it happens. And we're going to start over here with Nikki. Nikki is going to use Turn Yellow on Marcy. The reason I'm going to do that on this particular file is because it's giving me access to a couple of Bush Basher elements. So we've done that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to guard so that we get all of our stamina back. And here, we're going to use another turn element, Turn Red, on Serge this time. Because Marcy's innate color is blue, so now Serge has the ability to do some additional damage. Now we're going to defend all the way through, and then we will start beating her up here. Actually, you know what? We'll probably just do it now. I don't want to drag this out too long. We'll throw in a heal element there. What I've done is I've removed all the cure elements and replaced them with heal elements so that I can manipulate the field effect to not be all blue, because we definitely don't want that. So we've got two different effects on her as far as innate color goes. So let's see what we can do with what we have available. Serge is now red in terms of attacking. I misspoke in an earlier episode where I said innate color doesn't affect physical attacks. I misspoke. I was thinking with a brain that doesn't work. I'm going to put this up on screen to demonstrate to you how it works, because it's kind of confusing to just listen to. This is information I've gathered from Chrono Compendium, and it's very, very helpful with trying to identify how all of this stuff works. The total effect of color relationship on damage is determined by adding points according to several rules, then affording a 12.5% bonus or penalty per point. This is capped at a maximum multiplier of 1.5 for increased damage and a minimum of 0.665 or 2/3 for reduced damage. If a field effect color, indicated on the top left there, if one of those circles has the same color as our attacker, we get +1. If the field, if one of those circles is of the opposite color, we get -1. So in this case, because I have applied Turn Red to Serge, he's red innate for all intents and purposes. He gets +1 for the blue, or sorry, +1 for the red, -1 for the blue, equaling out to nothing. If the target and the attacker have the same color, it's -1 on your attack. So if you're attacking an enemy of the same color, you do less damage than if you were attacking, say, something completely different. If the target and the attacker have the opposite color, it doesn't add any points here. But what it does is it takes the value that will be added up by all those points, makes that a subtotal, and then multiplies that again by 1.5. So all the damage that we were going to build up by different field effects, that's going to be added up into one value, and then it's going to be multiplied again by 1.5 if, as in this case, our character is one element and the target is the opposite element. The field color circle, the target and the attacker have the same color. The color circle will have no effect because it's buffing both the attacker and the target. So if both are red and there's a red circle on there, there will be no effect as far as that goes, but rules, rules 2 to 4 will still apply. That's for physical attacks. Magical attacks work very much the same way, but let's get off this screen for a second. As you can see, we're doing quite a bit more damage. Now, she's been lowered in terms of her stance there, which means we've dealt enough damage to drop her to 50%. Now I want to start dealing additional damage, which is why I cast Turn Yellow on her so that I can use, I need to attack once, Bush Basher to do additional damage. Now, the way magic works is it's slightly different. Before we get on to magic, I missed the final point here. Okay, sorry for the cut. My brain is tongue-tied trying to explain this. This is why I'm including the annotations on screen to just try and illustrate it and make this easier to understand. It's just, there's no way of writing this so that it actually makes a lot of sense. It's just very awkward. So my example here is if you have a red attacker attacking a blue target with a fully red field effect, you get 12.5% bonus for each of those 3 circles. Plus, when you're doing a physical attack, you already start with that 1 additional point. Therefore, you have 4 points total. 4 times 12.5 is 50%. You have 50% more damage. So your total damage currently is 150%. Then you multiply that by another 50% because you're attacking an enemy of the opposite color. So we have 150 times 50, leading to a total of 2.25 times damage. So that's the maximum amount of damage you can deal with a physical attack against an enemy by making solid use of the field effect. This is going to be extremely important going forward in this game. Now, if the opposite was true, if you had a red attacker attacking a red target with a fully blue field effect, you would have -3, and you would get a multiplier of 0.665, so you do 2/3 your normal damage. With elements, with magic spells, that type of element as opposed to physical ones, it's slightly different. You start with 0 points instead of 1 point. I'm guessing with physical attacks you start with 1 point because the attack is associated with the innate color of the character, so it already assumes that they're the same. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You start with 0, and if the caster and the element have the same color, +1. The caster and the element have the opposite color, -1. So here we have Nikki using Magma Bomb will do already 12.5% less damage than anyone else using it because he's the opposite color. If a field color circle has the same color as the element being cast, +1. The field color circle has the opposite color of the element being cast, -1. The element color is the same as the target, -1. The element color is opposite the target, as with physical attacks. It doesn't add any points, but it will take that total value and multiply it again by 1.5 or by 50%, and you will, or 150% technically, but it'll add additional points on there. Field effect doesn't affect points if it's will not affect points if the attacking element and the target are the same, but the remaining rules will still apply. Same minimum and maximum multipliers apply here, and it's very advantageous to the attacker all throughout the game this way because it's actually possible to get up to -5, but you can only hit a minimum of -3. The game just won't let you go any further. That all being said, we now have Bush Basher to attack someone who's weak against it. So we're already going to get 1.5 times the normal damage. There's a green field effect in play, so that's +12.5 as well. So we're going to do a good chunk of damage with this. And she's going to counter by hitting as many people, well, 2 people, with Ice Blast. This can inflict frozen. If it does, they are unable to move and you won't be able to target them. I'm going to use Serge because he's almost out of element power anyway, and we're going to use Medicine to hopefully remove frozen. I'm pretty sure it's frozen. I didn't get a chance to test this in my test run because I forgot. Now the field effect is all blue. Any blue elements that she casts and any physical attacks that she does are going to do significantly more damage. Any fire or red elementals that I cast on her are going to do substantially less damage. As you can see, I almost had her down, and this is basically the strategy that I want to demonstrate on the other path. But I wanted to go over things as much as I could to hopefully kind of power it home how important it is to make use of the field effect in this game. If you do not, you will end up struggling a lot more than you otherwise would. My first playthrough of the game, I probably got a handful of game overs, and this isn't a particularly challenging game if you know what you're doing. If you don't, I got the rare drop again. I got this in my test run. Video game, you suck. I will not care about it too much on this path because this path isn't going to go all that far, but I will be making absolute certainty that I get her common drop, which is an Ice Blast element on Guile's path, because it's far more important on that path. That path is the one I will be continuing over the course of the game. But yeah, that boss fight, I totally nuked in demonstrating how the field effect works. You don't do that, the boss fight does not go nearly as well, and you can struggle a lot with it. You didn't think I could do it, huh? Eight pillars in the main hall. Behind the second pillar from the last, on the left, is a button. You'll notice before we came here, I was walking around a couple of the pillars there looking for a button. They would not let you do that ahead of time, so I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that. Dragoons are not allowed up there, so it's best that you go up the way you are. No need for disguises. There is a much stronger being that you will encounter. Interesting. You say anything else? Interestingly enough, I thought there was music that played here in the original version of the game. I could be wrong, but I was sure that they played music here. Go over here, press the button that Marcy pressed before. Turn on fast forward because it takes the ladder forever to go down. Go up here and get a turn white element. Nope, I don't want to go back up. Can I get around you, please? Interestingly enough, if you go over here, you notice the sound difference? There's an echo. It's a minor thing to put in the game, but it's one of those things that after playing the game multiple times, you go back and you hear it, it's like, I really appreciate the attention to detail. Keep that in mind for later. If you have not brought Kid, she will pop up here. And, well, I believe this scene plays out almost identically both ways, to be quite honest, but we'll show both. The vulgar one must be Kid. You disgust me. What'd you say? Proper English, huh? You are Harley. The Harlequin is named Harley. The right-hand Harlequin to Monsieur Lynx. If you lie down with dogs, you will surely catch fleas. Think you would do much better if you gave her up. I did! I told her not to join my party. But yeah, the subtle shots fired at Kid here, calling her basically a bitch with fleas at that. Oi, what's your problem? Would hate to see anything sad happen to you. I don't even know who you are. Nor do I know why you know anything about me. I don't know what the top phrase means, but most of her dialect I can piece together. The last time I took a French class, being Canadian, we take French classes as opposed to, I would guess in the US you guys take Spanish as a second language by default. Maybe you guys get the option, but early on, like I think grade like 5, 6, 7, I think you're required to take French before you get to choose what second language you want to take going forward. Last time I was in a class, I got like 5, maybe 10% in the class. I was terrible at French. I was always terrible at French. I did not do very well with the language. The only pronunciation that I've maintained are often names, and that's just from years of watching hockey. Put up your dukes. I'm gonna kick your arse so hard you'll kiss the moons. I cannot be caught fighting you here. Imagine the trouble I would get into. Well, fair enough. And Harley gives us a kiss and heads off. Yeah, the Harlequin named Harley, you know, the references back to DC Comics is not lost on me. There is another, or in the Japanese version, she has a different name that isn't Harley or Harlequin. I will wait to bring that up because in order to say anything about it, it's spoilery. So if you're looking for not spoiling yourself on the game and you haven't played before, don't look up her Japanese name. It wouldn't be obvious right away, even if you did, but just hold off. We will talk about it, don't you worry. You know how to get up there, don't you? Well, get going. Okay. The soldiers there will try and fight you if you, either, I think they fight you, or they'll ignore you or tell you to get out or something like that. But regardless, you're forced to fight them at this point anyway. Don't think we've fought them. Yeah, they come with a, for some reason there's 2 of them, and they come with a sergeant there, so it gives you another opportunity to steal a bronze helm if you still need one for some reason. But yeah, nothing particularly special about this fight, just finish it off. At this point, you're no longer allowed to go downstairs, and so you can't grind out for a stat up here. There's just not enough enemies. There's only the 2 possible enemies you could run into here. And one of them is this battle here, and the other one is the Will-O-Wisp that I ran into at the start of the episode. So, no going for stat ups. The other thing is, as soon as you enter the Manor, you are no longer able to change party members at a save point with the teleporter. It no longer works. You're stuck in here, and that's all you can do. So anyway, there is a switch on here. But I think that's pretty much... You know what? We'll go up here. We don't have a lot of time, because I spent a lot of time going over the... whatever it is, the how combat works. So we lost... Okay, there's, I think, 3 more fights. Well, I'll take care of all of them. Okay, we're back. We finished off all 3 of those fights. There was a poltergeist on either door. There's a save point there. And the far left door is locked. But if you come up here, it cuts out the music, and it gives you not really much of a view, but a really cool ambiance with the waves and the glowing plants. It also shows you that this area is even here, which is nice. So yeah, this door is locked from the inside, so there's not much we can do there. But other than splicing in a little footage of that sequence there, going through it really quickly with Guile, that's pretty much all for this one. Next time we will go in and show the confrontation in the main room there. And yeah. Okay, here is the same scene from Guile's path here. Yeah, get our little tutorial that I'll show you again. This world is an alternate reality. Something about what happened 10 years ago. You can only figure it out by moving on, and she's not going to let us. Shut up, you little brat. Yeah, the only thing that really changes about a lot of dialogue sequences, depending on the characters you have, is it reveals little bits of their personality, and a lot of the characters don't have a whole lot of personality. They just have an accent. We ain't here to play jacks. Kids' dialect actually has personality. A lot of the other ones don't. Guile doesn't really speak with any type of accent that gives him something to offer. It's just basic generic dialogue that everyone else will also say. Anyway, so we went over how elements work in terms of dealing damage and all that kind of good stuff previously. So let's build up our element power, and I will show you something else that you can do that's pretty fun in this game. Let's hope that's enough, otherwise I'm going to have to run away. Because you do want to steal from her. Good. Dancing shoes, the rare one. Not the one I wanted, but I don't know what those do off the top of my head, so we're going to run with it. Other than her tech, she does nothing else until she drops below HP. I'm not going to specifically try to drop her, but I do want to build up some element power with Kid here. I believe she's going to lead in with her tech here. Yeah, so she's going to use her tech. This is kind of the point that I want to set up. I would have preferred to have set up a little bit better before this, but that's fine. Magnify temporarily multiplies elemental damage by 1.5. This is on top of everything else we talked about earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up Magnify here. And let's see here. Elements. We have tablets set up here so that we have access to some kind of red element to use that on a low level. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take one chip shot here just to build up a little bit of stamina with our other characters. Then we're going to go into elements. And let's see here. Okay, we're going to use another tablet. Sure, we'll use it on Serge. That's fine. Now, Guile is going to get one hit in here. Element, turn red on Serge for when he gets around to physically attacking. But more importantly, what that does is it fully does the field effect red. Okay, she didn't get an element off. We're good. It didn't screw up my entire plan. So she's down. Serge has my highest magic stat. We have fully maxed out the field effect. We are red innate from turn red. And we have the highest magic stat we can against an opposite color, plus 1.5 again. This will do like 5 times damage. This is stupid. And that was half of her HP from the very get-go. Make absolutely certain that you make good use of the field effect in this game. It makes a massive difference. And perfect. We get the Ice Blast, which is the common drop, which is the one I actually want to get because it's far more useful than another piece of iron. We can get plenty of iron once we leave here anyway. All right, I'm going to skim through the rest of the dialogue. Still giving us our basic idea. There's someone scary we can encounter later. So let's go pick up our element here. Please talk to the thing. Yeah, I'm trying to hit any narrow target with fast forward on. Not particularly easy. All right, let's go back over here. And this scene, as I said, plays out pretty much the same way on either end. The Harley seems to have a thing for Serge. If you're going to insult someone, does it really matter what language it's in? You notice some characters have their kind of reactions. I noted earlier in the cutscene on Cape Howell that Lena was crossing her arms and facing away. You can see here that Kid's got her arms folded. She's stamping her foot. She's just kind of done with this whole scene already. You should not defy him. Now, why do you care? Like, I still don't get it. Hand it up to here with you. So yeah, nothing else changes about this particular scene. So yeah, that's pretty much all for this section. Now we'll just cut back to the other side and deal with all that stuff and finish up the video up there. There's not too much left to it. That's pretty much all for this one. And I'll see you guys next time.